What's going on, everybody? It's Calvin and Mahmoud.
Good morning, everybody.
This is the Capital Saturday Agency Training and Call. We're going to go over what it looks like from schedule, leads, and objections from multiple Hall of Fame producers like myself and Mahmoud. What's going on, bro?
Nothing much, man. Just thankful for being here. How you feeling today?
Dude, I'm doing good. I love this office. The culture's been good. People have been ripping it up this last week on the phone, so I'm super happy for everybody. And we're going into that new event in Vegas here tomorrow. So if you guys haven't registered for that and you're in the area or within driving distance, or you just want to get around a lot of people and learn some new stuff, definitely make sure you check that out. It's on Monday, June 3rd.
Yeah, so safe travels to everyone getting out there. We just went over the speakers meeting, and it's a fire lineup. I mean, you're going to get a lot of value from coming to this event, and I think they're going to give us some stuff to take home, too.
Yeah, and all the carriers will be there. Plus, you'll get like shotgun training. Like, it's not going to be long panels. It's going to be short. So I think that everybody's really going to enjoy it and get a lot of value out of it. And I think that we're going to come out of there hot like we did on this last convention. I mean, FFL just had their biggest month last month, so we're definitely building lots of steam.
Yeah, man, it's a saying. I think everyone that goes to a convention or like a sales conference, it's either they like double their production or double their activity, and you always make more money coming out of an event like that, you know?
Yeah, you pretty much would lose money by not going. So make sure you're there. Everybody always comes out on top, and it's always a lot of fun getting around everybody and getting that fire under you again. So, dude, thanks for being here. Like, you're probably one of the top trainers in the company, I would say, in my opinion. Like, you're always throwing down bombs and leading from the front and setting a really good example for the whole entire squad. But like, one thing that we talk about a lot, especially coming from in-home to virtual, is lead flow and a lot on objections. Like this last week, we did that training in the office, talked a lot about like preparing new agents to get selling quick and getting paid quick. And I think you're probably one of the best examples on how to explain that. So can you go ahead and explain, like, obviously lead flow, and then straight into like what a new agent should be expecting in terms of objections, so we can kind of figure out what would be the most quick way for an agent to get paid?
Yeah. So when you're coming into this industry, you're essentially starting a business. And like, our lead flow is our cash flow, essentially. Like, if you're operating a business, you have to have inventory, overhead costs, pay your employees. Over here, that's our only expense, is invested in our leads. And that conversation at first, it really just depends on the individual and where they're at financially. But I mean, I do bring that conversation up really early on with them. Like, hey, look, this is what the leads look like. This is our average agent does spend, $1,200 to $1,500 a week, but in return, they're helping 10 to 15 families a week with a consistent schedule following the blueprint. And it's not like they're getting rolling and I'm like, hey, you got to spend $1,000, $1,500 in leads. No. So like, when someone comes into the industry, we get them trained up, get the phone scripts down. I even give them a list of old leads just so they can get used to being on the phones, get the objections down, and then they're a little bit more comfortable. Because, again, when I was new to the industry, like when I was sitting in the homes or talking to clients, like if you guys saw me, like I was shaking, like I'd be sweating, my face would get red. And it just because like I was new at this, I didn't know what I was doing, And that's kind of like how I started. And it really, again, depends on the agent and their schedule. Like, if they're not really working a full-time schedule, whether they're a parent or have another job or whatever is going on in their life, they might spend $500 a week on leads, and it really just depends on the individual and what their goals are. But what I always tell everybody is definitely get with your mentor, upline, whoever it is, the person that you want to be, and ask them for advice. Like, hey, how should I go about this? Fit it into the schedule, and then we kind of go and break the goals down for them.
And just to build some credibility around that, like Mahmoud and myself, we each hit 80K months multiple times in a row. And those months looked a little bit different in terms of lead cost, lead spend than it did my first month here. Like, my first month in the business, Zach made me buy like $1,000 in leads. And I honestly was awful at the phone. And that was whenever in-homes was the thing and the virtual wasn't a thing yet. And so like during that time, like outside of the appointments that I set, I was also door knocking as well. So you have to be super resourceful whenever you're buying leads and dialing them, because you're not going to be super good in the beginning. Yeah, you're going to have a couple people that are, but most people, when you're learning a new skill, it's going to be a little bit difficult in the beginning. It's going to be a little bit hard, which is okay, because that means it's working. So in the beginning and you're looking at a full-time schedule, I would expect a new agent to at least put in $1,000 a week on leads in the beginning, or like at least 600, 800 every 2 weeks, just so that way they can get enough lead spend to get the right activity in. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but whenever we looked at the last 2-3 years in the business and selling, or issuing 500,000 per year or more, and we did the math backwards. Like my first year in the business, I think I spent $100,000 on leads, and I issued like 510,000. And then as my skills got better, the amount of leads I was getting, I didn't need as many to be good, so I bought more quality leads. But the lead cost roughly stayed the same. And so in the beginning, I think it's super important to have a volume of leads because you need more up at bats. And I definitely want to dive into the script a little bit because, I mean, you could say your script in your sleep, and that's what it really comes down to, especially whenever we were in the home. I know we would talk a lot on the phone, like driving around and during that windshield time is what they would used to say. And we would probably have a really similar in-home, and you could do it no matter what, whenever, whatever objections, because it's so rehearsed that no matter what you get hit with, right hook, left hook, you already know what to say, and you're preparing yourself ahead of time. So the correct training is super important to make sure that you're profitable in the business. But let's go over the phone script, and then we'll go through some objections.
Yeah.
So I'll be the client, and then pretend like you're calling me, and then we'll go through it just regular.
Yeah. And for any brand new agent, I always tell them, like, hey, run through your first 90 presentations, and then you'll actually know what you're doing.
1,000%.
Ring, ring. Hey, Calvin?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Calvin, this is Nasser. I'm just reaching back out from the benefits office. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good deal. Glad to hear it, sir. I was just the medical underwriter that's been assigned to your file here. This was for the new final expense and life options. I'm just the one that goes over the eligibility and sees what all you qualify for. Just to confirm, I got your birthday, December 9th, 1953. Is that correct?
That's my birthday, but I don't remember filling this out.
No, that's all right, Calvin. I usually don't remember what I eat for breakfast most days, but I see here you did list your beneficiary as Kylie. Is that right?
Yeah. Remind me again what this is for? Sorry.
Yeah, so most families that send this in, sir, they just want to make sure that, God forbid, when something happens to them, that their burial or cremation doesn't fall a burden on their loved ones. These are the ones that are designed for families that are on a fixed or low income, like Social Security.
Okay.
So, Calvin, do you have anything in place right now? It's not showing on my end that's going to help pay the cost of that burial, sir?
No, I honestly thought that the VA was going to take care of all of that.
No, so unfortunately, the only thing that the VA will offer you as of right now, if you die in the VA hospital, it'll be $795, and if you die outside of the VA hospital, it'll be $355. Now, they will let you reserve a plot at the National Cemetery with the headstone included, but you will still have to cover like the casket and transportation costs and all that stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, did you have any life insurance or anything that you pay for outside of work that'll help cover that, sir?
No, I just thought, like I said, I thought that the VA was covering it, so I never bought anything.
Got it. So, yeah, you sound like most veterans then that are sending this request in. Like I said, my job as the underwriter is to see which one would give you the best benefit here in the state of Texas. Now, before we dive into everything, do you receive text messages on this phone?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. So anything that he would eject me right there in the beginning, like, I don't remember this, I always agreed. Like, yeah, I completely understand. I'm the same exact way. But when you sent this in was your main concern. You always go back to the question. And identifying their information. Because, again, they might have filled it out yesterday. They could have filled it out a year ago, 6 months ago. But leads don't have an expiration date, and it is our job to get to them. And then... so this next part here, I do, since we are all virtual now, before I even dive into everything, I do like to send them over a picture of my face on a card with the credibility sheet. You know, it shows Family First Life, all the different carriers. Because, again, when you're selling over the phone, you have to be credible and reliable, and, you know, you have to use them to the best of your abilities. Because it's easy for someone to just hang up the phone on you, you know?
Good advice. So we're going to dip back into this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I received text messages.
Perfect. And just to confirm, that number is 123-44444.
Correct.
Perfect. So you're going to receive 2 images there on your phone, Calvin. The first one's going to be the credibility sheet. That's just going to have a list of some of the 26 different A-rated carriers that we underwrite for. And you'll see we specialize in a few things here, like the mortgage protection, final expenses, life insurance, and future income planning. And today's for the final expense and life options.
Okay.
And then the second picture, you'll just see a picture of my card there. That way you see my face and you know I'm active and a licensed professional here in the state of Texas.
Okay, yeah, I got everything. I see. I'm looking at it right now. Oh, you're handsome.
Thank you, sir. And all righty, Calvin. So what I'm looking at right here in front of me is the client suitability sheet. Have you ever filled one of these out?
No.
It's all right. It's just going to help me best guide how to serve you and the family today and see if you even need something like this put in place. Okay?
Okay.
So we're just going to spend a quick minute or so on the self and financial situation. That way we're able to see exactly how much coverage you do need. Make sure that it is enough coverage for you and that it's comfortable and within the budget. And typically we don't have an issue with that, Mr. Wright, just because these are designed for people on a fixed income and you are the one that customizes everything. After that, we'll just spend a quick minute or two on the health and background, and that's going to allow us to see which one of those carriers would give you the best benefit with the highest chance of approval for the coverage today. Does that all make sense, sir?
Yeah, that makes sense for me.
Perfect. Now, coverage-wise, Calvin, have you ever thought about if you were to be buried or cremated, sir?
Yeah, I want to be buried.
Okay, and do you know how much a burial costs nowadays in the state of Texas?
Oh no, I have no idea.
So it really just
5,000,
depends.
10,000?
Yeah, so it really just depends on what all gets done, from like the fanciness, elegance, casket, service, all that good stuff. On a low end, as of today, it'll be about $8,000 to $12,000, and then the fancier you get, it can get up to like $15,000, $18,000. It really just depends on what all gets done there. But a proper burial will put you at $10,000 to $15,000. Now, Calvin, God forbid something were to happen to you tomorrow. Who's going to be the beneficiary picking up the pieces?
It'd be Kylie.
Okay, and same last name?
Yeah.
Got it. Now, Calvin, do you have, we said no life insurance in force that's going to help cover that cost for Kylie?
No, I honestly thought that the VA was taking care of everything. You know, I got out of the military and I get, 100% disability now. And I just was under the assumption that since I got 100% disability that they were going to pay for everything.
Yes, sir. No, it is unfortunate that it is a misconception there. Now, this next part, savings-wise, did you have $10,000, $15,000 set aside to help pay for that, sir? Or you just like me and most families just kind of getting by?
We're just kind of getting by right now. I mean, we saved a little bit of money, a couple $1,000s, but nothing set aside for the funeral.
Yeah.
That honestly wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah, just like an emergency saving kind of.
Yeah.
Now, Calvin, did you just want this policy to cover your burial, or did you want to cover anything else as well, like leaving Kylie some extra money or covering any other debts or expenses?
Well, it just depends on how much it costs. Honestly, I am on a budget.
Absolutely, sir. Like I said, you are the one that customizes everything. I'm just asking here just so I can properly serve you today and make sure we put you in the best spot, okay?
Okay.
So just to confirm here to see the insurable interest side of things, we're going to make sure that the burial's covered for Kylie. And if possible, you want to leave her some extra money behind as well, sir. Is that right?
Yeah.
But the bare minimum, is it fair to say that we got to at least make sure that there's 10 grand in place? That way that the burial doesn't fall a burden on her?
Yeah.
Got
At
it.
least. I mean, obviously, I would like to get as much as I can get.
Absolutely, sir. And here in a minute, once we go over your health, we'll be able to see which one would give you the best benefit with the highest coverage for you, okay?
Cool.
And now I'm going into the self essentially. So I like to dig into the why for a good couple minutes there, really build the value. Because at the end of the day, guys, if there is no why, there is no buy. And that's just plain and simple.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to point out real quick before we keep going is that every time I would give him an objection, he would overcome the objection and go right back into questions. So every time he would agree with me, comfort me, and then re-engage a different question and keep moving through the conversation. So I think that's a super key piece, regardless of the objection and how you overcome it. Agree with it, answer it, and ask another question to move through the conversation.
Another thing I'd really like to highlight there, which this was formulated from like over 500, 1,000 presentations, is setting the structure. Because you have to let the client know, I let them know, you customize it, it's affordable within your budget. We're going to spend a minute on your health. I don't want to hit them with the sneaky surprise, hey, this is going to cost you money. but I'm going to be the one that makes sure your family's in the best spot, and we're going to get this done today. And I think setting that structure is super important. Do you agree?
Yeah, 1000%. I think structure has a lot to do with how successful you are and how well you know your job. You know, just like in the Army, like being proficient on shooting, this is the same exact thing. Our script is our accuracy on the weapon. So, I mean, just executing and knowing when to pull the trigger every single time is super important.
Yeah. Should I go ahead and follow
Yeah, let's
through
go
with
ahead.
it?
Keep going.
Okay, guys. So, yeah, now we're done with the why. Now I'd like to confirm basic info. So, first name's Calvin.
Yes, sir.
Last name's Wright. Did you have a middle initial, sir?
C.
Okay, and it's spelled Wright, right?
Correct.
And are you a junior or senior?
No.
Okay, and then your birthday, December 9, 1952, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So as of right now, it makes you 71 years young.
Oh, yeah, probably something like that. I can't keep track anymore.
And we said you are at 100%. And then just a rough estimate on your monthly income with your pensions and Social Security combined.
Yeah, so it's right around everything, all of us combined, like 5 to 6,000. Is that about average? That's pretty much average what you see with most veterans that are in that piece. If they're a little bit younger, or if they're around that same age and they only have Social Security, typically you'll see like 1,500 to 2,000. But yeah, for the purpose of this example, I'll say 5,000.
Got it. And this next discount question here, sir, for your financial institution, do you handle everything at like a local bank or credit union, or do you use that Green Direct Express card?
USAA.
Got it. That's who I use as well. And here on the health side, next discount question, do you smoke at all?
No.
Good deal. And have you ever had any heart attacks, strokes, or cancers?
No, the VA sends me some medication. Yeah, they send me some medication, but I never had a heart attack or stroke.
Thank the Lord. Any blood pressure, cholesterol, or diabetes?
Yeah, well, let's see what I got here. It looks like I got high blood pressure medication, cholesterol medication, and a little bit of some pre-diabetic medication.
For the blood pressure, is that just like a lisinopril or metoprolol?
Yeah, lisinopril.
And the atorvastatin for the cholesterol, or pravastatin?
Yeah, atorvastatin for the cholesterol. Yes, sir.
And then you said metformin for the diabetes, or did you take insulin?
Yeah, metformin only, just the pill.
And any diabetic complications like neuropathy, nephropathy, amputations, anything like that, sir?
No.
Good deal. And have you had any breathing complications like COPD, bronchitis, anything like that? Oxygen machines?
Oh, no. I do walks around the block.
There we go. Yeah, you sound healthier than most people I'm speaking to in their 50s, 60s, so props to you. And any kidney, liver problems?
No, just those 3 meds is what the VA got me on.
Okay, and no anxiety, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, nothing like that, right?
Oh, no.
Good deal. And then is there anything else that's been prescribed or operated on in the last 5-7 years, sir?
Just had that knee replacement. That's about it.
No complications with that?
No. I'm all good now.
Okay. And then just a rough estimate on your height and weight?
Yeah, I'm 5'9", about 190.
Okay. And then any COVID-19 in the last 60 days?
Oh, no.
Good deal.
What's that? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there was a lot of vets we talked to, sir. They were hospitalized for like 3-4 weeks at a time. It was no jokes.
Oh, no.
And any hospitalizations in the last year or two? Thank God. And you don't seem like the type, Mr. Wright. I'm just required by law to ask you here. No DUIs, felonies, or any of that crazy stuff in the last 5 years, right?
No.
Those days are over, huh?
Those days are long gone, Army days.
And this next part here, sir. So the reason I asked you all these different health questions, Calvin, so it's not up to me or you to get the approval. Unfortunately, it is up to the carrier. So what that means is they're going to look at something that's called the Medical Information Bureau, which is also known as the MIB. Are you familiar with it?
No.
So it's just a compilation of prescriptions, medical records, and hospitalizations over the last several years. That's just how they're able to identify, one, that you are Mr. Calvin Wright, and 2, that you don't have any active AIDS, cancer, and you're not going to drop dead tomorrow, God forbid, sir.
They're not going to make me take a physical or nothing like that, right?
No. So that's just how we're going to be able to get you this immediate coverage without having to be on like a 2-year waiting period like most funeral homes or insurance carriers, or having to do any paramedical blood work, physicals, or any of that funky stuff there, sir.
Okay.
Now, the good thing about the plan is you're pretty much the one that customizes everything. I'll just be the one that'll explain the benefits for you. But like I said, it's not like going to the store. We can just see it, like it, buy it. With this kind of thing, we do have to get approved for it. Okay. So what I'm doing now is I'm just punching it all in here into my system. While we're waiting for that to load, do you just have a pen and paper so I can have you write down the benefits of the plan?
Give me 1 minute.
Okay, take your time.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Now, while he's doing that intermission, I just want to give a quick breakthrough real quick. So if you guys saw, like, I do ask a few questions to kind of pre-set up the objections. So like when I ask about his income, I ask if he banks locally, credit union, or direct express. The main reason I do that is because when I started, I'd get to the end of an application and, they'd pull out a card and this one only took routing and account. So you want to set that up early, and it lets them know, again, like that is going to be needed as well, and it kind of sets that structure up. And when you're saying you're an underwriter, it's professional to know the medications that the people are taking. You'd be surprised. Like, I'd have people be like, oh, my God, how do you know those meds? I'm like, well, wouldn't you want me to? Like, it's my job. But I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, and one thing to add right there, like as he's asking those questions, is as something I do, which I think has worked really well in the last 12 to 15 months, is I always just have them grab their driver's license whenever they're going to grab their pen and paper, so that way they know I'm serious, and then I'm going to grab some information from that going forward. So that's just a little tip I use, but I always ask for that, so that way they're prepared to give me some information.
100%. All right, you ready for them benefits, sir? These are going to be super important, okay?
Okay, I'm ready. I got my pen and paper.
And this part is important. You want to make sure they write this down. So the first benefit we're going to have you write down is this is going to be immediate coverage.
Okay.
So again, we get the approval. God forbid something happens to you tomorrow, next week, next month, or whenever your first payment goes through, you'll be covered for the full face amount. So no 2-year waiting period.
All right.
Second benefit is this is going to be a locked-in rate. So what that means, Mr. Wright, is the price will never increase and the coverage will never decrease. You're going to be rated as if you're 72 years young the entire time with this plan.
Okay.
After that, write down tax-free.
Okay.
So it's one of the very few things we don't got to pay good old Uncle Sam for.
Yes, sir.
The living benefit. So God forbid if they told you had a terminal illness, 12 months to live, you do have access to up to 50% of the benefit.
Okay.
And this plan here will accumulate cash value. So as time goes on, that'll slowly accumulate for you.
Okay.
There's also a feature in there that's called a double accidental indemnity. So God forbid if you were to slip and fall, hit your noggin, choke, drown, it's going to automatically double that coverage for you. And one of the most important ones is this is going to be permanent coverage. So you don't have to worry about this expiring or going away on you. It's going to be with you your whole life, sir.
Okay.
So these are going to be the benefits of your plan. Before we look at the different options for you, did you have any questions or any concerns about the benefits of the plan, Calvin?
No, I think I understand.
Good deal. So I'm going to have you write out a couple different options here. Like I said, you're pretty much the one that customizes everything. So you're going to be able to get anywhere as low as $5,000 in coverage and go all the way up to $50,000 of permanent coverage. But like I said, if you want to look at any less or any more coverage, you just let me know, sir, okay?
Okay.
So the first option we're going to look at for you, sir, this one's going to be the bare minimum to have in place. It's going to be a $10,000 benefit. If you die in an accident, that's going to double to $20,000.
Okay.
And if we got you the approval for that one at the preferred health rating, it'll only be $83.40 a month.
Okay.
So that's, again, just going to make sure that your burial's covered, factor in inflation a little bit. That way Kylie's not left burdened.
Okay.
The second option is going to be a $20,000 benefit, $40,000 accidental. With your preferred plan rating, it is going to be $153.20 a month.
Okay.
And then the last one we'll look at here is the max they'll give you, $40,000 of permanent coverage, $80,000 accidental for a total premium of $310. So that one's going to make sure your burial's covered, and it's going to leave Kylie a nice little legacy of $30,000 behind. Now, from those three different options there, Calvin, if we were able to get the approval today for you, which one of these makes the most sense for you?
Well, I definitely want the biggest one, but it's a little about my budget. So, based on budget, I mean, The middle option I could probably do, but it's just, it's not that much coverage.
Yeah. Now, well, affordability wise, Calvin, I mean, is that something you can afford every month, whether Christmas rolls around or you get a flat tire on the truck?
Yeah, I could definitely afford that.
Okay. Now, I understand what you're saying. It's not enough coverage, but you got to understand, sir, like you are 72, you don't have any life insurance, and you barely have any savings. So, I mean, if you don't think that one's enough coverage, like what I'd recommend you do, sir, like if you were my father, I would tell you to let's start with the 10,000 in place. Make sure that you have something. It's better than nothing. Get your foot in the door, get approved. And once we know you're for sure comfortable with that one, we can always look at increasing it to get more coverage for the wife.
Okay.
Does that make sense there?
Yeah. How much was the 15,000 again?
So the 15,000 one was the $153,
Okay.
and the 10,000 was just $83 with your plan.
I definitely want to do the 15,000.
Okay. Now, the next step here, Calvin, like I said, it's not up to me or you to get the approval. We still have to get approved by the carrier.
Gotcha.
So the application process is super simple. We'll just spend a quick minute or so confirming yourself, basic information, or the policy will get mailed to. Then we'll just spend a quick minute confirming the basic health questions, which we already know the answer to. I'm just kind of required by law to ask them and go over them over the phone. And then they'll have you confirm your beneficiary on the plan. And then at the end of the application, they're going to let you select the effective date on when you want the coverage to start. And once we submit it here in a couple minutes, they'll give us the 3 final answers today. The first one's going to be a thumbs up. We got the approval. That'd be a blessing there. It means you got the approval at the lowest option there in the state. Second's a thumbs in the middle, which that's not always a bad thing. Could mean a prescription popped up and they're just going to double check some things. Usually takes like a day or two. Or 3, they'll just straight up give us a thumbs down and decline you. And we'll just have to look at the next cheapest option, which is just going to be a couple dollars more. Does that all make sense there, Calvin?
Yeah.
So to get started here, your birthday is December 9th, 1950.
Yeah.
And then I'm in the application confirming his basic info. Start with the name, number, email, address, height, and weight. Ask the country they were born in, and then you want to get the social. Set it up properly. Don't make it weird. And let's do it.
Let's go with a couple just objections that you'd get in the application that are common.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap it up, okay?
Yeah.
So, objection that's super common. Well, I don't think that's common if you set yourself up correctly, but I know new agents get this objection often. But the social objection, which I rarely ever get,
I still get them.
Go ahead. Like, so, I'd be like, hey, and what I usually say is I'd be like, hey, and social, this is going to match your death certificate whenever you pass away, and it's going to match your medical record. Go ahead with it. That's how I tee it up. How would you tee yours up?
Yeah, so I'll confirm their basic info, and then I'll be like, all right, and were you born here in the state of Texas?
Yes.
What city?
Austin.
Got it. And obviously you are a U.S. citizen.
Correct.
And your social?
I don't really give that out. It's kind of private information.
Hey, no, I completely understand, Calvin. The only reason they're asking you for the full social here is, 1, that's how they're going to be able to pull up your medical information bureau to make sure that you don't have any active AIDS, cancer, nothing like that. And 2, when you pass away, that's the only thing on your death certificate to identify you to make sure that your family gets the funds, sir.
Oh, okay. Do I have to give you it?
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3, whatever. Okay.
Cool. And if you're still giving me pushback there, I'm going to be like, hey, Calvin, like, I completely understand. I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. So I just send a picture of the application because, again, we're mainly virtual now. You'll see the name of the carrier, whether it's Mutual of Omaha, AIG, Aetna, America, whatever it may be. You'll see your name, Mahmoud Nasser, and then you'll see the client's name with all their information. So it's like, again, I send a picture of my credentials in the beginning. So they'll see my face, and then they'll see their information. It's like you can't make it up,
Yeah. And then I think and then after you get through that, the only other objection in the application that you would likely get would be bank information or the day that it's going to start on. So go ahead and hit me with that one.
Yeah. So, Calvin, it's shown here we're tracking at the preliminary guidelines for the $15,000 benefit, $30,000 accidental for a total premium of $153. Yep, that's what I got on my computer screen, and that's what you have as well.
Okay.
Perfect. Now, this next part here is going to be for the effective date of the coverage. So they give you two options here, Calvin. Most families have it go into effect immediately upon approval. They'll draft it in the next 24 to 48 hours. Is that going to be a problem for you?
Yeah, that would be a problem. I usually get paid from the VA and Social Security around the first or the third.
Then what we'll do is we'll set it for the second option, which is the Social Security billing. We'll just set it for the third of the coming month. Now, write that down on your sheet of paper, Calvin.
Okay.
So June 3rd. What that means, sir, God forbid, you got to make sure nothing happens to you over the next week or so, because that's when your coverage will start, when the first premium goes into effect, okay?
Okay.
Now, the final portion here of the application, the anti-money laundering section, for the name of the financial institution, what is the name of the bank you handle everything with?
That'd be the USAA Bank.
Got it. And you did open that there in Texas, correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And it looks like we are partnered with them here. I got the routing number beginning in 0839. You have a checkbook to confirm that?
I don't have my checkbook on me.
That's all right, sir. For your statements, do you get those via mail or email?
I get those in the mail.
Okay. Do you have one of those laying around?
I don't know. Do I have? Why do you need this again?
Yeah, so again, this is just how they're going to be able to, for the anti-money laundering section, to validate that it is an account linked to your name. Mm-hmm. That way there is no fraud going on, and that is the account that you'll be using to pay for the premium on the third, sir.
Okay. So what do you need again?
And just for you to confirm the routing and account number. So I have the routing number here. It's the one beginning in 0839.
Yeah.
And the account number, sir?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Boom. And then after that, you'll send them the text code, whatever, for the final signatures of the application or email signatures. And then while you're waiting for the final approval, I have them write down my name. And then once they're approved, I congratulate them, have them write down the carrier name, the policy number. Calvin, be on the lookout over the next 7 to 12 business days. You're going to get a big old policy in the mail. Make sure your wife, Kylie, knows exactly where that's at. And then from there, they're closed.
Yeah, and a couple of things to lock it down in the end, which I was awful at in the first 12 months of this business, was saying, hey, I will be your agent for life. It's likely that you'll probably get a million other calls from people claiming that they can help you get something better. It's simply just not true. Obviously, you just went through everything to help you get the most affordable, best option for the most amount of coverage for your family. As you know, it already took 30 minutes. I doubt you want to do this again with anybody else. But for referrals and stuff, I do take those. And usually how that works is anybody that you refer over to me, whatever the max the state allows me to give you as a referral bonus, $25, $50, $100, whatever state we're in, I'll go ahead and get that over to you just as a complimentary gift, because I do want to be with you for the rest of my life and your life. I do service that policy or something of that nature. I go ahead and just kind of like make them feel super comfortable. Call me anytime you need. This is my personal cell phone number. Please call or text me if you have any questions. I'll always be here to help you and answer those questions, and just kind of lock it down and make it feel really home and comfortable. That's your time to be really personal with the client. Everything before that, be super business, structured, straightforward. You're not trying to be their friend. At the end, once they're approved and everything's done, that's your time to kind of make them feel comfortable and relieve them a little bit.
Yeah, 100% agree. And guys, you have to remember, like, at the end of the day, these people don't want to be sold. They want to be helped. And it's our job to ask the right questions, make sure that we're using our voice properly to help these families. Because, whoever knows, we might be the last insurance agent they ever talk to,
Yeah. And that's the basics of how you would do like a simple veteran final expense or just general life insurance appointment. The key takeaways here is making them understand what's going on and asking very good questions. It's okay. The script is there as a tool and a guide, but you want to be a really good question asker, because that's going to give you all of the ammo and tools that you need to be very successful. And I had a conversation with a group the other day, and the guy kept asking me questions about leads and why things aren't working, and he had all these excuses, right? And the number one thing I stopped him. I was like, hey, dude, your number one problem right here, and I can tell you right straightforward, if you don't mind, is that you're not spending any money on leads that you should be, and that's why you keep reworking the same batch, and that's why you're not being successful right now. Additionally, you're so worried about explaining the product rather than helping the client. If you want to be a product genius, that's fine. You can go memorize all the products, but you want to be a good question asker. be the master of question asking, because whoever asks the most questions wins. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, that's how I've been telling a lot of my agents is just ask really good questions. Don't worry so much about the script. Yeah, the script is good for structure and order and the way that you ask those questions to get you to the application. But at the end of the day, you want to know a lot about the client and their health situation and what's going on. So that way you can build on top of the why.
100%, bro. And it all goes back to the why, bro. If there's no why, there is no buy.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
But no, man, I think that's a great note to end the call on. And I hope you guys can go in after the Vegas call, listening to this next week. It's the half of the year mark. So if you are not aligned with your goals, check in, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And it's time to take off, guys. It's the second half of the year. And let's make it happen.
Awesome. Have a good week next week. Go ahead and crush it. And if you guys ever need anything, you know where to contact us. And we'll always be in the Austin office to help anybody that's around the area that wants to reach out and get some in-personal training. Have a good one, guys.